Be delighted to be the new Dundee United head coach. How big a job do you face?
Yeah, it's a huge job. It's part of the attraction, the responsibility, the expectation. And if when I started my managerial career at 32 years old, now at 39, if I could have forecasted that I was going to be the Dundee United football manager, then I probably would have been pinching myself. But no, just really excited, really proud, and ready to get started.
Scottish football, it is one pressure cooker, as I'm sure you're aware of. How much are you looking forward to all that, because you've got the powerful media spotlight on you. That's only going to get brighter, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's just part and parcel of the responsibilities of the job. I think the energy around my appointment has probably been a good test for my temperament and mentality for taking on a job of this size, and I've actually weirdly enjoyed it. So the key thing for me is that there's an energy attached to this football club. The fan base are passionate, and I suppose any manager's responsibility is harnessing that, redirecting it, and making sure that it has a positive impact for the players and the team on a match day.
Yeah, it's obviously, that's a good way of addressing the fans' concerns, isn't it? Because there are fans concerned that he's only 39, he's never managed at any sort of level before. I mean, what do you say to that, and what does that do to your kind of way of thinking?
Yeah, I think first and foremost you have to understand it, you have to empathise. The similarities to my position when the club approached me to be part of a process, I had no frame of reference, therefore I was unsure, and I think all the fans are doing just now is showing a lack of certainty, because they have a lot of passion for this club. They've been quite detached from the club during COVID times, and fans are only interested in that their team doing well on the pitch, competing, winning, representing itself properly. So again, I totally understand from the fans' perspective that there might be a little bit of trepidation, but equally I think there's a lot of renewed energy in terms of trying something new, fresh and different at this club as well.
You've just been speaking to Tony there, and he says top 6 is the target, it's the minimum requirement. That's a bold big bit of pressure on you as well. I mean, how do you view that challenge?
Yeah, I think the key thing for me is our immediate target is to approach the Premier Sports Cup. We haven't actually progressed from that cup competition in the last 3 seasons, so that's the first target. Now naturally we know the different kind of barometers at each stage of the season where we need to be to get to different elements of league, but I don't see us having to burden ourselves with league positions or final league standing. So the key thing for me is establish that early connection with the players, make sure that we're quite clear on what the expectations are for each party, and then just attack each game as they come.
This is a big club, one of the biggest ones in Scotland. You know that there's a pressure to get results. I mean, is that something you're looking forward to, and you think you can be the man to realise those ambitions that the club has?
Yeah, I think when you're ambitious yourself, you understand that once you get to a certain level that there's going to be pressure, there's going to be interest. So I think for me that's a motivational factor for me. I've sat in the stand, I've listened to the fans, I've seen them suck the ball into the net here in the title winning season, I've seen them turn it into a cauldron against Dundee in the derby. So that for me is what I need to kind of harness and distribute onto the pitch.
You just want to, I presume, come in here and prove a point to the people that are doubting you. This is a big opportunity to say, well, perhaps you're wrong to doubt me.
I think as a manager you're always looking to prove points. When I reflect on my journey as a manager, the first thing you want to do is prove that you can connect with players, that you can win matches, and then when you happen to win leagues and win cups and be successful, that's just a constant evolutionary process. So I know that the fans will be dying to get back into this place. They'll be keen to understand about signings, re-signings, how we're going to shape up next season, and that's just the beauty of the beautiful game.
I suppose one of the things doing your favours, you've got a fairly settled squad here. There haven't been too many guys that have gone out the door this summer, but I suppose from your perspective, to make sure you've got the best chance, you need to really be keeping hold of a lot of Shankland. I mean, just his work to the team is a valuable support for the goals, I suppose.
I think one of the big things about our success in recent times, you're right, has been our team spirit, it's been our togetherness. We have a really strong, stable playing squad, and that's going to remain. We do actually have assets, which is actually a very fortunate position for the club to be in. So naturally when you sign a Lawrence Shankland, you're not going to keep him for 7 or 8 years, we understand that, but we also happen to think they might have some unfinished business here. He's still under contract next year, he's happy, he's content, and we want to deploy him to maximum effect next year.
Have you had conversations with all the sort of big clubs already at the club yet? What's their response been?
Yeah, I've spoken to the senior players, because I happen to believe that any manager who's going to be successful will need the buy-in and support of his senior players. So it's been quite revealing in terms of what they're looking for, where they think the ambition should lie next year, and I've been really encouraged by the conversations.
With Mark Connolly been out injured long term as a centre back priority, or we spoke to Tony there, he said he's had conversations with Charlie McGrew. Would that be the ideal answer to fix that problem in your defence at the minute?
The good thing about the Mark Connolly situation is the injury is not as bad as first feared, so we'll have him back quicker than probably we initially anticipated. But someone like a Charlie Mulgrew potentially coming in gives us that pedigree, that understanding of the league. He's won it 5 times, he has leadership qualities, and he just gives us additional positive competition. But having spoke to him directly, you can tell that he's a guy with real pedigree and quality leadership skills, and I don't think any dressing room could have too many of these things.
When do you think Mark will be back?
I haven't actually spoken to the medical team, but we're looking at a few months rather than many months, so obviously that's really pleasing from our perspective. He's someone that I think's performed really well for the club. He's a big character, and he's someone that I'll be relying on amongst other senior players to make sure that we're functioning properly.
What do you make of the teams that are going to be in the Premiership next season? I mean, it's going to be potentially the most exciting lineup for many years, but also, I guess, a lot harder to compete in.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the season it's going to be more competitive. Returning the Dundee Derby as well, which again is exciting and a huge part of why I really wanted this job at the latter stages. So a club of this size returning to the Premier League, we understand that there's expectation, there's competition. We understand what it takes to be successful in this league, and we're just really looking forward to the challenge.
Great, thank you.
Hey, looking at this being your first interview as manager of Dundee United, how do you see the season progressing? When I ask you the question at the end of the season, how do you think it will compare to what you're going to say now?
I think what we knew about the league last year is everyone was capable of beating everyone. So apart from the top teams who go on sustained runs, everyone can beat everyone. So I think the key thing for us is really targeting that Premier Sports Cup initially. That's a key target for me because we haven't progressed in that cup. Then from there, momentum and confidence, and naturally, whether it's at Tannadice or away from home, there's an expectation from the fans that we try and attack every game and acquire the 3 points.
You mentioned about speaking to the senior players about how you're planning to do things with the season coming up. What's your message to the fans for the same?
Yeah, I think for the fans, there's almost a recognition that we understand you've been detached from the club, we understand that there's an energy, and we've missed them as much as they've missed us. And I think come the first friendly, when they see the team that we put out, the first competitive game, the 20th competitive game, they'll very quickly see that they have a huge part to play at this club, and that they'll be a key driving force in our success moving forward.
Do you feel that the experience you had last season when you took over from Mickey, when you had the time out with COVID, do you feel that was an invaluable part of your learning curve, being able to take on this position?
I think so. I think when I first came to the club, I probably had to suppress a lot of my managerial ambitions to really fulfil my job in the academy. And then when you take on the role for those 10 days, it naturally starts to, invoke a lot of the instinct that you've actually developed over the last, 7 or 8 years as a manager. So I think for those 10 days, it definitely awoke something in me again, and never fully expecting that I'd be the head coach here at the end of the season. But to answer your question, I think it probably did, yes.
Have you kind of focused on the players that you're looking to bring into Dundee United at this moment in time? Even people like Mark Renault, who was here last year. Is that something you've targeted already?
I think it's part of my job here, doing the opposition analysis type work. I'm very close to recruitment and the recruitment strategy and how we're looking to reshape and the squad model. So I've got a very good handle of where we are from a current state perspective. I know who the signing targets are, and I think as a kind of collective consensus, I think we're in a really strong position to retain our best players and acquire some really kind of strategic signings that will help us probably take us to another level.
Last one from me, just really, do you feel that the task of going from being at a different level within the club to step up to manager, with players being in a different position, do you think that would be a difficult step for you to overcome?
I don't think it'll be any more difficult than any other manager. Since I've come to this club and in my previous position, I've been very aware of how I conducted myself around the club, in terms of my integrity and my professionalism. So I actually feel like I'm actually stepping into this role from a position of strength. So I'm trying to see the positives of being an internal appointment, understand the staffing structure, understand the ways of working, understand the players, and also happen to understand what the fans want to see on the pitch as well.
Do you feel that the last 18 months have been an 18-month interview for you, effectively?
I think you can almost argue that, because again, if the club are looking at an internal appointment, which they eventually decided to do, they've got ample opportunity to assess my competence, my integrity, my professionalism, like I said, and whether or not I'm scalable with driving this club forward.
Tony's just been speaking there about how you've already had a couple of ding-dongs with him over some issues. I mean, the fans that are perhaps concerned that your internal appointment means you're just going in to be a yes man, you're just lucky to be getting this opportunity. Does that prove to them, that you're not here just to do what you're told by the guys upstairs, that you're going to be your own man and make the decisions that you feel are right?
Yeah, absolutely, and I think the reason that the negotiations took so long for the appointment to be made is because I wanted to make sure that things were right, that we're committed to doing things right. I've got really high standards, and because of my professional background in recruitment and different areas, I really wanted to make sure that I was coming into this with the right type of support, with the right type of voice, and also with the right type of responsibility. So Tony's right, we have had a few choice words, but ultimately we're both committed to Dundee United Football Club. That's the priority. There's no personal agenda, and I think it's about having big conversations to give representation to the fans and make sure that we can perform on the pitch.
Without getting into detail, can you give us a broad sense of what those arguments were? Was it recruitment or anything like that?
Yeah, it might come down to something around about the service that we provide to players, the training centre, developments with the pitch, recruitment. It might be a whole host of things, and I think the key thing is that there's a lot of passionate people here that are here for the right reasons, for the benefit of the players, for the benefit of the football